Hi, everybody. I'm Stephen Long. This is The Writing Life, and my guest today is Dianne Hartsock. And in preparation for this, I was thinking how lucky I am and how much I enjoy doing this. And the reason is it all involves writing, but there's so many aspects. And I think I'm going to learn some things today from Dianne, and just anxious to get started here. So welcome, Dianne.
Oh, thank you.
Yeah.
Thanks for having me.
Yeah. One of the things I want to learn about is your genre, and maybe it's even more than one, but I read about it, but let's hear it from you. What genre is this?
Okay. Well, my two books, Alex in the Shed there, that's book one and book two, they are actually psychological thrillers.
Okay.
Yeah, so there's a little romance because I think romance is just part of life.
Okay.
So you have to have romance in there, but they're mostly, Alex is a psychic. So and he's about 21 years old.
Okay.
So it's mostly how he is dealing with life and just trying to be a normal person, but with the special abilities.
Right.
And it involves like a serial killer comes along and he gets
Okay.
involved in that. So these are more psychological thrillers. Is probably my main genre that I write in.
I didn't.
But,
I'm glad you told me.
Yeah, but then I also write romances. So
Yeah.
that's something else I enjoy doing.
Okay. So my understanding is, I think this is right, romance is the #1 selling genre. Is that correct?
Yes, yeah.
And I think detective or mystery is second.
Mm-hmm.
But
that sounds right.
so the other thing, and this has more than one aspect, what drew you to this? That is this genre.
The romance one, or
Really both, because
Yeah,
I know
yeah.
you do more than that. I kind of wanted to explore all
Right.
of these.
yeah. So the romance, like I said, I think is just part of life.
Okay.
And I'm just a very romantic person. I think I
Okay.
love to read romances.
Sure.
So that's just fun to write. You just have two people and try to get them together and all the complications that come along. And,
Right.
But all my stories always have happy endings. So,
Okay.
Yeah.
And some of these I need to be a little bit delicate, but
Yes.
I know that you also do a cozy. Is that right? That's a no. All right.
Okay, I'm not sure what that that is. So if I do, I don't.
No, a cozy is a sort of a subgenre of a mystery, and
Oh, okay.
and so I've got that wrong. But I think, at least from the covers and what I've seen, is there's some homosexual relationships.
Yes, yeah.
And again, this is the delicate part.
Mm-hmm.
Is that, and I'm thinking of Brokeback Mountain. Annie Proulx, I think, wanted to explore that just because it's part of the human condition. Do you see that? Maybe it's a marketing tool. Maybe that's a great market. It's not something that, okay, I'll say it a different way. One of the pieces of writing advice is write what you know. That's not something I would know.
Right.
So is this made of whole cloth? Or I'm really talking
That's
too
okay.
much
No,
here.
you're doing fine.
So if you were writing science fiction and you place this on an alien world, when you build a world, then the rules within that world have to be consistent.
Yes.
Okay.
Yes.
I think if I did this would be a fabrication. I would be building a world and I would have to figure it out.
Right.
But whether it's a Martian or a Klingon or whatever, I think when we see these things, these are relationships that we know. That's where I'm going with this.
Okay.
So regardless of gender, these are relationships.
Exactly.
Is that the way you view that?
Yeah, exactly.
Okay.
Mostly when I wrote my first MM romance,
Okay.
we were doing the marriage equality was just a big thing
Okay,
going on
sure.
in this state.
Sure.
Because I wrote my first one about 2 years ago when
Okay.
that was going on. And to me, I didn't know what was the big deal because love is love. We all love each other. We love our spouses or
Right.
our partners. And that's the same with, the gay community. That's an actual love. They're human beings and they feel
Of
the
course.
same. So when I was writing it, I wanted to show that, these are just people living their lives
Right.
who happen to fall in love.
Right.
And that there's nothing wrong with that. So that what got me started writing in
Okay.
that genre. And and I just enjoy it. I mean, it's a great community to be part of. Met some really nice writers in that community.
Good.
And learned a lot from them. And I don't know, I just think it's and mostly the characters just kind of come to me, and that's what they
Well,
are.
it's
so
certainly a
that's what they tell
legitimate
me.
area to explore.
Yeah.
Yeah. Well, I like that. So
But-
you said something that kind of surprised me a little bit. You said you've been doing this 2 years?
In that genre.
All right,
Yeah.
because my
Yeah.
goodness, you've been prolific. And
Yeah. Well, these books are actually about six years old, about 5
Okay.
years old.
Okay. Well, I feel a little
But
better.
yeah, but when I really got involved in writing just the MM romances was
Okay.
about maybe 3 years ago when I really.
Okay. So
Right.
I was wondering about, I think one of the questions that people who aspire to be a writer want to know, how is it done? Not only is it, how is it done, how do you sit down and be disciplined enough to do the work, but once this work is done, where do you go from there? And so I wondered with you, do you have a publicist? Have you done all this on your own? How did you do that?
I pretty much did it on my own on the computer.
Okay.
Because you can find anything you want pretty much on the
Right.
computer. So I just started researching. What I did is I took authors that I liked and found out who were their publishers.
Okay.
And then you go to their website and find out what they're looking for and if they're accepting books or not.
Okay.
So you start there. Usually I was going to say, usually I write the story first and then I start looking for a publisher.
I prefer that. To me, it seems more genuine. I don't know that you can do good work writing. It would be like hearing a Beatles song and saying, "Oh, that was popular. I'll write one just like
Right.
that." I mean,
right,
what's
yeah.
that about?
Because you definitely want to write your own stories
Right.
in your own voice, which is
Yeah.
important. And and then you want to have more than one publisher, I think. Because I go with a lot of the indie publishing houses, and a lot of them seem to be closing their doors. So you don't want like all your eggs in one basket. You want to make sure you have several people who are accepting your work.
So a couple of things about
So.
that. First, partly for my edification, but also the folks watching, talk about an indie publisher. What's that definition?
Well, I don't know their exact definition,
Okay.
but it's more just the smaller houses. It's not, you have your like top 5 publishing houses,
Right.
which are very hard to get into.
Sure.
And then you have your middle class ones, and then
Okay.
you have the smaller ones, which, they call themselves indie publishing houses. But they're just as hard to get into as some of the bigger houses.
And again,
But-
just because I don't know, I'm going to ask: would a college press be an indie? Or
I think they call themselves indies.
they
yeah.
do.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So then that leads me to the mysterious agent.
Okay.
Do you?
I personally don't have an agent.
And
Yeah.
so this is a match. Then I think one of the things that you look for is not only what does that publisher gravitate toward, but will they accept your manuscript?
Oh, right.
Okay.
And the thing with the indie publishing houses is they usually don't do a lot of promoting for you.
Okay.
So you're going to have to work on that yourself,
Yeah.
which is fine with me. I mean, they're my books. I like to get out and promote them.
Sure.
So that's fine. If you want to get into the bigger houses, that's when you would look for an agent, because they can get you in the door that way.
Yes.
But,
Having said that, my understanding is even that world has changed. So if you're John Grisham, yeah, they'll promote your book.
yeah.
If you're Stephen Long, if you're lucky enough to sell to him, Stephen Long's going to promote the book.
Yeah. They do more than an indie publishing would do, though.
Right.
Yeah, because they just have the money. The
Yeah.
smaller ones just don't.
Sure. And they're looking for, again, my understanding is they really want that blockbuster
Yeah.
because not only is the physical publishing expensive, but the promotion can be really expensive. And so in
Yes,
order to recoup that, they need to sell a certain number
Yeah.
of books.
Yeah.
Now, your books are on Kindle?
Yeah.
Okay. Just kind of talk about your experience with that. How did you do it? What kind of rewards do you get? Is it satisfying?
Okay. I don't self-publish.
Okay.
So everything I have is through a publishing house.
Okay.
So they usually, a lot of the smaller ones, depends on the length of your story. Like all my
Okay.
short stories are on Kindle books.
Okay.
And they won't make print books if they're small. They're not going to print a small book. So they did all the Kindle books for me.
Okay.
And then, like these larger books, then they go into print depending on the word count that you have.
Okay.
And
Is there an optimum size? And I say that, again, from a more of a marketing standpoint.
right.
If you have a story to tell, I think you should tell the story. But then the
most
reality.
of them don't like 100,000 words. You're
Okay.
getting that's getting probably around 75 to 80,000 words is a
Okay.
good place to stay.
Okay.
Yeah.
And different genres are different, I think. Science fiction, I think, will go a little bit
A
more.
little bit more. And again, it's the publishing house.
Yeah.
Because everybody has their own little rules and what they like and what they'll do for you. So
Okay.
you want to do your research.
Yeah. I believe that I was reading that some of your, would this be fair to say horror?
Yeah.
Yeah?
Yeah.
And I thought that that was an interesting juxtaposition with your current employment.
Oh.
So,
Yes. Mostly because I love to read thrillers, horror
Okay.
books, strange books. Not so much Stephen King because he's a little too far out there, but similar books.
I know that there's a spectrum.
Yeah.
Yeah. I'm not much of a horror guy.
Yeah. I would say it's more, not so much horror, but like thriller.
Okay.
Right on the border where it's
Yeah.
scary, but not like super scary. Or, yeah.
But now yours are paranormal?
Yeah. For
Okay.
the most part, yeah.
Okay.
Yeah.
You know what I like about that is they can't prove you wrong.
True.
Yeah.
Yeah. And still, you have to do your research. Like, okay, so like Alex is psychic, so you research all the psychics you might know, who are out there, what they're capable of doing, what they think they can do, how they interact with people. Who, I don't know. It's that you can't just make up this world. There's still, you have to stay within the realm of reality.
Well, again,
To a point.
I think you can do, you're the author and you can create this world. But I think once you do that, then there are rules in that world and you have to be consistent
yeah.
with those rules.
Definitely.
And I'm going to probably step on my tongue here, but so we went to the movie the other day, and saw the new Mummy.
Okay.
And took my granddaughter, who's obviously a couple of generations from me. And when the movie was over, we talked about, did you like it? And universally, we didn't. And I thought
Okay.
that was interesting because there are reasons I didn't like it, but there were reasons that she didn't too.
Okay.
And I think intuitively, when it doesn't make sense, and what I mean by that is, well, I thought these were the good guys. Why are they attacking? Or I thought he could float. Why can't he float? Whatever it is.
Right.
If you build a world, you need to be consistent in that world.
Oh, definitely.
And
Well, because you don't want your reader getting confused halfway through the book, like
Sure.
what is happening? So you have to be very clear in your steps and
Right.
make. That's what they have. It's called a beta reader. When
Yeah,
you're done
sure.
writing it, you
Yeah,
send
sure.
your books out because then they can catch those. It's like, wait a minute, you had him doing this here,
Right.
and how come he's not doing it at the end of the book? So they're really good to catch those kind of things for you.
yeah.
Because sometimes as writers, you read it a million times, you
Oh,
miss it every time.
you can't correct your own work.
Exactly.
Yeah. So I have a reader. This is not a professional setup.
Right.
When you do with an indie publisher, do they provide the reader? Is
No.
that what you're saying?
No,
okay,
you
so you have your
usually
own.
you do it all beforehand. When you send it to the publishing house, you want the best book you have.
Absolutely.
Yeah, everything as proofread and read over a million times as possible, because they get so many admissions, books in. If they don't like the first couple of pages, sometimes they'll just put it aside.
I think you're being generous. What I've heard is they are so overwhelmed with submissions, they really are actively looking for a reason to reject your book or it's somebody's book.
Yeah.
Because there's just too much. There's just too much to handle.
Yeah.
And
yeah.
I'm trying to remember, I think, and it varies by agency, but I think this is not an exaggeration, that a medium-sized agency might get 200, 300, 400 submissions
believe it.
a week.
I believe it. Yeah.
So where do you go from there? If there's anything that they don't like, you're out the door.
Yeah.
And I've given this sentiment in a couple of presentations. it's so easy to publish now. You said you don't self-publish, but you
No.
could.
Yeah.
So somebody, if you write something, you can get it published. Just because it's easy, man, don't shortcut that.
Yeah.
Do the best you can.
Oh, definitely. Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Absolutely. Well, because sometimes self-publishing authors have a hard time selling because they have a bad reputation. A lot of self-publishers, they won't have it edited.
Sure.
They just throw whatever it is out there. Well, it's my book. I'll just do the way I want it. But that gives the whole thing a bad reputation. So if someone wants to self-publish and they've had it edited, still people may not buy it. They're like, oh, it's self-published. I'm not going to buy this. And won't even give it a chance. So, you want to, do your best work even if it's self-published.
Yeah. I was at a conference where a fellow bought my book, and I bought his. And he wrote me such a nice little blurb. And I really wanted to write something nice on it, and it was incomprehensible. I couldn't finish the book.
Oh, wow.
It was just so bad.
Oh, that's a shame. Yeah.
It is, and I wanted to be nice, but I couldn't find a nice way to say that.
Well, and every book is not for every person.
Right. Oh, that's for sure.
Yeah.
And so one of my big topics is that it's so subjective.
Yeah. Oh, definitely.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We're out of time, really, but I want to ask you this.
Okay.
Have you gotten feedback from a reader and been surprised by them? And what I mean is, so I haven't read the book, but if they come up and say, I know where you're going with Alex. His backstory must have been, or whatever, and because I think once you paint a painting or write a book or whatever this art form is, it's not yours anymore.
Right.
And it now belongs on those individual basis to the person that's consuming it. And if they think they see something there, then legitimately they do for them.
Right.
Have you ever had that?
Probably in every book. There'll be something, yeah, because I see the characters a certain way.
Right.
And, like with Alex, he's like 21, so most 21-year-olds I know act this way and they do these things.
Right.
And some people are like, well, he's acting older than he is, or too young, or or he never would have acted this way, so how come you had him do this at the end of the book? Because he never would have done that. It's like, well, my Alex would have, because that's how I see him.
Sure.
But,
and I think if you're, as the author, if you're cognizant of that and do your best, then that's the best you can do.
Right, yeah.
I have a problem. Grisham's book, The Witness, maybe, it's a little boy who witnesses a murder. And I didn't read it, but I saw the movie, and I thought, really, a 12-year-old is that precocious? Is that? But it's fiction, and it fit the story.
Yeah. And maybe he knew a 12-year-old that was like that.
Yeah.
Because not all 12-year-olds are the same, so it's hard to say.
Thank you. Well, this went too fast.
It did. Yeah.
We'll have to do it again. Thank you so much.
Oh, thank you.
All right. Well, thanks everybody. It was so much fun talking to Dianne. My website is stephenwlong.com. Dianne, do you have a website? Can they contact you?
Yeah, it's diannehartsock.wordpress.com.
Okay. And write to Dianne if you like to. Write to me and give me suggestions for topics. You can comment on whatever you want to comment on. And we're always looking for guests. So if you have somebody, if you're an author, suggestions for guests for the show. So we will see you next time on The Writing Life. Thanks.